Oh, we're back. Oh, so good to be back. I just got back from Denver, Colorado. And hopefully you're just going to see my car not fog up so much. But yeah, what a day. What a day. It's been a wild couple of days. And we got playoff football. Playoffs that I have been waiting for a long time. We've had like 20 game of the year candidates, or I guess we could say like we've had a 6 or 7 game of the year candidates. I'm probably gonna lose all my subscribers for that, but yeah. But no, it has truly just been a wild season. Seahawks got the number 1 seed. This could be the year for the Seahawks, and I'm not just saying it because to pull a Cowboys. This legit could be it, though. And we're not going to talk about the Seahawks today, which is going to be fantastic. We just get to sit back and watch and hope and pray that the Panthers and the Eagles win. We'll get to both those in a little bit. So, what was my overall record? I ended up going 10-6, which brings me to a 190, and I unfortunately can't see the score right now. But I think it was like 191 and 80-1 with a tie. I got both Saturday games wrong. I picked the Panthers over the Buccaneers. I picked the Seahawks over the 49ers. I picked the Bengals over the Browns. So, yeah. And yet, somehow, Zach Taylor is still not fired. I don't know why. I picked the Cowboys over the Giants. Most people got that one wrong. What else did I do? I can't remember. It doesn't matter, but yeah. Well, let's get into these playoffs, and these playoffs I think are going to be a lot of fun. We got so many great wild card games right now. I actually feel like it's really up to a debate on like which game is the best one, but I will say I'm kind of glad we're kind of getting the weakest one out of the way, being the Rams and the Panthers, which we're going to start off with that though. Rams and Panthers. This is a game. This is probably the game that looks the most lopsided. The Panthers ended up winning the NFC South. By default, though, they don't really look very good doing it. They're easily the weakest team in the playoffs. The Rams, I'm not sure if the Rams are, like, collapsing or they're getting hot or something. They dominated the Cardinals, though. They almost blew a 10-point lead, though. But, of course, they blew the game against the Seahawks, and then they blew it again. And then they lost a pretty heartbreaking game to the Falcons, though. But, no, but in all honesty, this is a very interesting game because if the Panthers are on their game, I think they're a very solid football team. I still think they're the weakest team in the playoffs, but I do think they can... I don't want to say beat anybody, but I think they can push some teams around a little bit, though. And let's not forget, the Panthers already beat the Rams already, though. Matthew Stafford is probably having one of the best seasons of his career. That defense is not the best, but they are but I definitely think the Rams are a threat, and I do think that they should not be taken lightly, though. This is the one game I feel like most people are going to agree on, though. I do see a scenario where the Panthers could upset them, though, mostly because maybe the Rams are collapsing. Maybe the Panthers are going to be on their game. Overall, I don't know, but I have to go with the Rams. I can't imagine the Rams getting swept by this Panthers team twice. But maybe it could be a good game. But it just depends on if the Panthers are on the game. If the Panthers are not on the game, they're getting blown out though, and they had an off game against the Buccaneers. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. But then we go to our next game. This is another good game. They got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. The Packers, yeah, they're not looking good. What are they, on a 4-game losing streak going into the playoffs? Like, not so good. But on the bright side, though, they were resting Jordan Love. Obviously, they're not going to get Tucker Kraft or Micah Parsons back. But what they are going to have is they kind of had a week off, and then they get to play the Bears, who the Bears did not look very good against the Detroit Lions. And I feel like this is a very interesting game because the Packers should have swept them, but the Bears had that miraculous comeback. Now, if you look at the Packers, this is the 3rd year in a row that they've been the 7th seed, so they've been very experienced. They've been very experienced, though. The Packers will be getting about as healthy as they can be. Jordan Love will be back, though. And the Bears, none of this Bears team has played in the postseason before, so maybe if Pope Leo, his prayers aren't fully getting through, maybe they lose this game, though. But this is a very interesting game, and I could honestly see a scenario where the Green Bay Packers win because they should have swept them. But I feel like because of the Packers' injuries, especially to Micah Parsons, I feel like that is going to play a factor in this game, though. And I'm actually going to go with the Bears, but I'm actually not 100% confident with that, though. This is going to be a really close game. Then I would probably say this is my most anticipated game of the week. You got the Bills and the Jaguars. The Bills kind of got a week off against the Jets. Josh Allen played one snap, and that was it, though. Hopefully he's more healthy going into this game. And meanwhile, the Jaguars, they beat the crap out of the Tennessee Titans. They're probably the hottest team in the NFL right now since the 49ers got cooled down. Yes, I'm not going to let that go. But yeah, which we're going to talk about them in a little bit, though. But this, I feel like, has the potential to be like the most entertaining game. I think this is going to be the game that if Josh Allen is healthy, if he is on his game, this is going to be... Are you working right? Someone sent me an Instagram. They're supposed to be working. I don't know what's going on. But what was I saying? Yeah, so the Bills. Hopefully Josh Allen is healthy this game, because if Josh Allen's healthy and he's going to go kind of into God mode, though, this is probably going to be one of the greatest wild card games that we've ever seen, though, because that Jaguars offense has been playing incredible. Liam Cohen has been doing a great job. Trevor Lawrence is playing some of his best football, though. But I feel like this is kind of coming down to consistency, though, where sometimes that Bills defense is really good, and then there are times they're just not so good, though. Sometimes the offense is on its game, and sometimes it's not on their game, though. And I think another big thing is that I believe the Jaguars' run defense is like one of the best in the NFL. So maybe James Cook has a rough game, though. But this is all good. I think a big thing is it's going to come down to Josh Allen's health. Is Josh Allen fully healthy for this game? If he is, I think Jacksonville should maybe worry a little bit. If he's not, then I think Buffalo should worry, though. This is a game that I think you could go back and forth. I could see either way. But unfortunately, I have to go with the hard team. I have too many question marks about the Bills. We are going to go with the Jaguars in this one. And, oh, Buffalo, you really blew your chance. But, yeah. Now, then we go to our next one. It's the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is another very interesting game because the 49ers, they suffered quite a few injuries against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think Fred Warner's coming back, so we're going to have to worry about that, though. The Eagles resting their starters ended up costing them the 2 seed because the Bears went for it, and they nearly made that comeback. But the Eagles, they're kind of a team that they're so bad that they're good. Like, sometimes Nick Sirianni just makes just mind-boggling decisions that just frustrate you. Kevin Petula has just been terrible, like, the entire year. But if you look vice versa at the 49ers, though, the coaching actually goes in their favor. Like, Kyle Shanahan has been doing a lot better job, mostly because of all the injuries and just the adversity, though, and the really tough division with the Seahawks and then the Rams, though. And yet they're actually pretty lucky to be in this scenario. As much as I hate the 49ers, though, I got a lot of respect for Kyle Shanahan. He's been doing a phenomenal job. And so I think coaching-wise, they match up really well. So I actually could see a scenario where Kyle Shanahan is able to out-coach Nick Sirianni, because it's Kyle Shanahan versus Nick Sirianni and Robert Saleh versus Kevin Petula, which that is a terrible coaching matchup for the Eagles, though. But I think the Eagles are the better team since they are going to be resting. I don't think there were any injuries on the team, but if there were, then they got to rest up a little bit, though. But I think a big thing is going to be can Christian McCaffrey actually get going against that 49ers defense, though? If he is, then I think the 49ers could maybe sneak this one out. And as I said, I could see Shanahan out-coaching Sirianni, though. But overall, I think there is a chance the 49ers could maybe struggle against the Eagles defense. They really, really struggled last week. They could not get McCaffrey going, though. And even if they're able to get someone like Trent Williams back, though, good luck against like a guy like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, though. I am going to go with the Eagles, but this is another game that I could see people picking the 49ers, and I would totally understand that, though. And I say that as a Seahawks fan. I'm not going to get offended by that, though. Then we go to our last Sunday game, and it's the Los Angeles Chargers at the New England Patriots. Again, another very interesting matchup as well, because the Chargers are rested. I love that Chargers defense. Justin Herbert, hopefully he's going to be a little bit more healthy. Obviously, the offensive line can't be any more healthy because there's no Joe Alt and no Rashawn Slater, though. But they're playing the Patriots, and honestly, I actually think this is a better matchup for them than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would be very nervous about the Chargers playing the Jaguars, though. Not just because they blew them out. I mean, not just because of the walk around, but because the Jaguars are just so hot right now. And I feel like this is a better matchup for them because, yes, the Patriots are very good, though, but they've had a very super easy schedule. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Stephon Diggs or Christian Barmore because of their allegations, though. I'm going to probably say the NFL is probably not going to do anything because it's the playoffs and they're going to go, huh, shoo, let's kind of make that go away, though. So, but another thing is, this is kind of a weird thing to say, the Patriots are very inexperienced going into the playoffs, though. This is a very young and new Patriots team, though. Mike Vrabel's done an incredible job. I am a big fan of Mike Vrabel, though. And the Patriots, I do not like the Patriots, though, for some obvious reasons, though. But also the Chargers are trying to erase some narratives as well, though. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh. Oh, shoot. What was it? Is it Jim or John? Oh, no. I'm sorry. Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry. I drew a blank on the names. Jim Harbaugh is probably going to want to avenge his brother because, for those of you who don't know, John Harbaugh just got fired by the Ravens just a little bit ago. And so, yeah, he's definitely going to want to kind of get some revenge. But then also Justin Herbert maybe trying to shrug off some playoff narratives, though, because they blew the 27-point lead and threw 4 interceptions against the Texans, though. And I feel like the Chargers are kind of getting to a point where if Justin Herbert doesn't have a great game, though, he's probably going to be labeled as a playoff joker, and then everyone's just not really going to really believe in him very much, though. But as I said, this I think is a good matchup because the Patriots haven't really had to play a lot of tough teams, though. Of course, when they had to play the Bills the second time, they ended up blowing that big lead, but when they would play the first one, they played pretty good. But besides that, they haven't really had a lot of those tough games, though. So there's a good chance that I think the Chargers could win, too, because I just don't know how good the Patriots are because they haven't had as many tough games. So because of that, I am actually going to go with the Chargers in this one. These are some really, really tough matchups to predict, though. I could be totally wrong. I could totally see that happening, though. But because the Chargers are more experienced, because I think that defense could maybe frustrate the Patriots a little bit, though, I got the Chargers. All right, let's finish up with this Monday night game. Another good game. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers the Steelers aren't even on the road. You got the Houston Texans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another good game because the bad man, Aaron Rodgers, played one heck of a game against the Baltimore Ravens, throwing that game-winning touchdown. And I think a big thing is DK Metcalf is coming back. Could that maybe play a factor, though? Now, I think a big thing that could really play a factor is that Texans defense, so especially that pass rush. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is just not as mobile anymore. And so because of that, I think there's a good chance that Aaron Rodgers doesn't even play his best game as well. Now, you could also look at that Texans offense and the Steelers defense, and you could say maybe they match up really well. That Texans offense is very inconsistent, though, but they have one of the longest win streaks in the NFL because of their defense, and now their offense has kind of finally picked up a little bit and then actually played pretty well. Their offense looked really good even with Davis Mills. Their defense, not the best, though, but the Texans are a bit of a dark horse for me, though. And I do think there's a path where they can maybe even get to the Super Bowl, though. Now, the one thing that I do think is going to play a bit of a factor, though, is how good is Aaron Rodgers going to be against this defense, though. That last Sunday game proved to me that Aaron Rodgers still has a little bit left in him, and there are a few people that are scarier in the playoffs than the bad man Aaron Rodgers. However, I do have to go with the Texans. I think that Texans defense is going to make Rodgers' life miserable, and I just don't know how he's going to be able to get out of it, though. I am going to go with the Texans. I could see the Steelers winning. As I said, I think I've said that about every game where I'm like, oh, I could see someone winning. But yeah, these playoffs are going to be wild, and I think the first round is going to be incredible. So we're going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, man, it is time for me to depart. But welcome back to the playoffs. No Seahawks, not yet. We're going to see them next week. And you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X. At Matthew is spelled with 2 T's, Matthew, Leininger, Leininger. Hopefully we're going to build this up, but it's going to be a very exciting playoffs. I am so excited right now, and go Seahawks. See you guys.